everybody, and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where, wow, do we ever have something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays? This is probably the biggest breaking news surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays
all year.
All year
For sure.
I literally, probably since, Jose Barrios.
I would argue.
Or maybe even, Kevin Gosman.
It's close.
Something like that.
I would argue that maybe that's even bigger than that.
Could be even bigger than that.
It is big news,
It's
guys.
huge
It
news.
is fucking huge news.
Charlie Montoyo is no longer the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays. He has been fired, but they're calling him, it's been he's been released of his duties, but he's fired, guys.
Yeah.
He's fired, and we're going to talk about it, react to it. You did a minute monologue on it, but
in the
we're
car, man.
In the car on the way here.
I was literally I got this news. I was with my mom. It was her birthday. We were hanging out, and I was like, "Fuck, mom! I gotta go home. It's we gotta record this now. This is incredible.
It's amazing."
Now, before we go any further, before we break everything down, we look at what he did with us, what our thoughts on this are. What are we gonna do moving forward? I just want to put it out there really quickly. I think every single person, from what I've heard from the Blue Jays and everything, have said Charlie Montoyo, a really nice guy. I liked him. I thought he was a nice dude. Obviously, I didn't know him in person, but
seemed like a nice guy.
Exactly. Regardless of your feelings about him on the field and his, stuff in baseball, we did just see a dude get fired. So I really just want to throw it out there. I hope that Charlie Montoyo, you land on your feet. I really think you deserve it, man. Especially in today's fucking economy. It's literally shut it out. It's just we saw a dude get fired. So regardless of how you feel about him on the field, I wish you the best of luck moving forward, bro.
Yeah, for real. And we'll talk more about what he's done for us, but he's done a lot. Done a lot.
Now, with that being said, and I think the first thing that we really have to break down here, because I already went over what happened and he's gone and whatever. Are we better off? We have somebody in here saying, Jonathan,
literally,
you better off. Are we better off now that Charlie Montoyo is gone?
Well,
we do know that Schneider, the bench coach, is going to be the interim head coach. Keyword being interim. We have no idea how long that's going to last, and we're going to get to whether or not we think we're going to bring in somebody external or what that is going to look like, right? That situation is all up in the air right now. But are we better off right now without Charlie Montoyo in the freaking dugout, calling the game, doing the bullpen? What do you think?
Well, in terms of just being better off, we obviously have no clue. The results are going to speak for themselves when we actually play some baseball games starting tonight without Charlie Montoyo and with John Schneider. But look, I don't know if it's going to change the morale. They were literally right behind us. I don't know if you can see Ross Atkins being interviewed. They were asking is this going to affect the dugout presence? And he really didn't give an answer.
Yeah.
Obviously, we talked about the guys liked him. Are we better off? Man, I don't know. I know a lot of you like to pinpoint, he leaves in pitchers too long. Some of you say he leaves them in not long enough.
Yeah.
Some of them say, we should have played this guy. Will the decision making be better? We probably won't notice it, if I'm going to be honest, because I started to barely notice it.
Right.
Now, will the players play better? Because that's a question. I'm like, okay, well, will the players play better? Because at the end of the day, we can't fire the players. They have to go out there and play every day. Ross Atkins is literally saying, I really am trying to make a move here, basically is what he's saying. And the only move is to fire Charlie Montoyo to make the players play better. Now, are the players going to play better, Nick?
I have no idea. Yeah, it's really impossible to say, but that's what we need out of Montoyo, right? This was kind of the last straw for the Jays, so I understand why they did it, because if you're the upper management, the people who pay Ross and Mark's salary, right? Those guys, Rogers, basically. If you're those guys right now, you're looking at this. You're looking at all of the analysts who were talking about the Blue Jays saying, hey, these guys, top 5 team in the MLB coming into this season. These guys, they could easily win their division. These guys, World Series contenders. And you're Rogers and you're going, well, that's what happened when you ship out a bunch of money to George Springer and Kevin Gosman, Jose Barrios. They did their part. They paid the money, and in their minds, they're like, okay, we spent all this money. We need to see results right now. The results have not been good enough. Yes, we're 46-42. We're still above 500. But when you were considered to be a top 5 team coming into the MLB, and we're keeping you out of our fucking power rankings, on a 1-9 run that we went on, That's not good enough, right?
No.
That's just simply not good enough for these guys to be okay with leaving somebody in charge.
Right, exactly. And speaking of Ross Atkins in there, like, and the Rogers company, they're like, okay, well, I'm giving Ross all this money, to go, and technically Mark Shapiro to then allow Ross to get all this money, and it's a chain of command, folks.
Yeah.
First, you go get the players. These are the players. They're not doing well. We're paying them the big bucks. Okay, well, we got to fix this. First one to go is going to be Charlie Montoyo.
It has to be.
And Ross Atkins is next to go.
Yeah.
Right? Ross Atkins will be next to go. He's out here trying to save his ass, building his team. His team's not working. Well, what are you going to do? Get rid of the players you just brought in, like Kevin Gausman, George Springer?
Yeah.
No! You got to get rid of Charlie Montoyo because he was the last. Oh, well, you should be living this team up. They should be doing exactly what they're supposed to do, and you ain't.
No.
So Montoyo's gone, and that's exactly what happened, man. I want to look at the stats.
I do as well. Let's take a quick moment right now and look at what the Toronto Blue Jays have done this season under Charlie Montoyo's watchful eye, and see, is it worth getting fired over? Right.
Well, we take a look at this year's OPS numbers for the Toronto Blue Jays. Look, 4th in baseball in OPS, right? Really good team. The hitters, they're definitely underperforming from last year.
Right.
100%, but they're still good. They're not bad. 2nd in average.
Yeah, when you think about as far as just team statistics go, I don't think that you can say anything about Charlie Montoyo and not getting the best out of his offense.
Yeah.
When you look at the individual players, sure, Vladdy's not having as good of a year as he had last year. Bo's not having as good as a year as he had last year. But in comparison to every single other team in the league, I mean, this is a pretty good offense, guys.
Right.
Like we were arguably first last year, if not top 3. And I think you could make a very strong argument for why we are at the very minimum top 5 in offense this year. So I don't think anything can be put on Charlie Montoyo as far as offense goes. Like, he did get the best out of his players when it comes to the bat.
Yeah, 100%. Now, we all know the pitching. I mean, let's address the elephant in the room.
That is obviously the big thing right now, and which is very strange to me, because when Charlie Montoyo was coming in initially, everybody was pointing to, hey, he's got a great background in the Tampa Bay Rays system.
Right. Great pitching.
It should be that it's like, well, now we can finally maybe build like a strong pitching team. And that never really transpired. In the entire time that Charlie Montoyo was manager of the Blue Jays, granted, there were 2 years there where our pitching staff was just absolutely abysmal. Like fucking Trent Thornton was our ace, so I don't think you can say anything about that.
That's management.
But even this year, when you look at the guys that we had, all the money that's going into the pitching rotation right now, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and we're 21st in ERA.
Yeah.
It's never been rectified. It's never been solved, the pitching.
Yeah, and I want to say this too. Like, I agree with you, man. Like, it hasn't. It's been a big issue. And I want to say this too. It's pretty obvious Charlie Montoyo, the effect that he has, he doesn't have a big impact on how the pitchers, are performing on the field.
Right.
Like, if you actually think about it, Charlie Montoyo doesn't have that much of an impact. Is it the words he's using? Is it his presence? Is it his bongos? Like, you know what I mean? Like, realistically, the guys to be blamed are the players themselves. Right? Yeah. So, firing Charlie Montoyo, is that going to improve the pitching staff? Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
But someone had to take the blame. Someone had to be the scapegoat. That was this.
I mean, but you could make an argument, and this is where I think the next question comes into this. Like, was this the right time? Because you could make an argument, maybe mid-season, Charlie Montoyo, you're right, maybe doesn't have that much of an impact on the pitchers, but in the entire scope of the Blue Jays, in the offseason, preparing them, telling Pete Walker what he wants to focus on, potential workouts, or I don't know exactly how the entire chain of command of a baseball team is run with the head coach and the pitching coach and everything. But you have to imagine that there is some level of influence that he has on how we're preparing these guys, what they're working on, everything like that, their conditioning, everything. I feel like maybe he has more impact on getting the pitchers ready for the season that we don't see than in actual game format, like mid-season when we're just going. We're
running practices, running drills. I mean, just managing, right? And the thing is, and part of the manager too, you also manage the staff. You manage the training staff. You manage the equipment managers. Equipment people.
Which was embarrassing. That is embarrassing. You know?
Totally forgot to tell them to do their job. But at the end of the day, it's like, he's managing it all, but everyone underneath has to do their job, including the players, and they have not been doing the job, including the equipment people. Up to par. So someone has to go.
Somebody has to go.
So mid-season for you. You know, I got a little take on this now that I'm like kind of sinking in for me. For you, do you think it was the right time mid-season to be doing it?
I'm not sure yet, man. Like I don't know, because Ben Nicholson-Smith tweeted out earlier today, right when this news is breaking, he was saying it is very rare to have teams go out and look for an external manager when they're in the race, when they're in the hunt mid-season. Yeah. Because you got to imagine it's tough, right? You have a new guy come in while you're in the hunt for playoffs right now, a completely new regime of running things. Like how can he can't get adjusted, right? It's like we're in the fucking flow of things.
That's going to be the off season for sure.
Probably.
John Schneider's been with the team for the last few years. Yeah. He's been with Bo Vlad and Kevin Biggio, like going up through the minor league system. So I think he's going to be able to manage the team as he sees fit.
Yeah.
Now, will it be like, and to answer my own question, is it the right time? I think, you know what? Screw it. If this team is performing worse than they were last year, granted we have very similar records that we do last year, but our team was performing much better.
Right.
If we're performing way worse, screw it. I mean, what do you have to lose?
You have to lose playoffs.
Exactly.
If we don't miss playoffs, right?
Exactly.
So I think it's, you know, it's an interesting one, because I still thought under Montoyo, I still thought that this team had a strong chance to make playoffs. I have to hope that this move, this firing, invigorates the players.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to hope that what this does, if it does anything, you know, rather than chop the head off of the organization and have everyone be like, oh my God, you have to hope it's like for Bo Bichette or for some other guys who are like underperforming right now, they need to think to themselves like, fuck, I'm not safe.
Yeah.
I'm not safe.
You know what? Right? It's the lack of a better word. It's the wake the fuck up call.
Yeah.
You know, I'm waking the fuck up now. Oh my God, Charlie's gone.
Yeah, like
we didn't think he would go mid-season. No. I know a lot of people are like, get rid of him now, but this is the first time it's happened in a decade.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like I thought if he was
Days.
going to go, then it was going to be we need to be below 500 if Charlie Montoyo's going to go.
We got to be below 500. Right? And granted, we were on pace.
We're fucking skating.
We didn't even want to touch that.
No,
we did not even want to touch
no.
it. You're getting too close. So now we learned the answer to that question. What would it take for Charlie to go? Just close enough mid-season to 500.
Yeah.
And the Baltimore Orioles literally on your ass.
Dude,
that's also another thing.
I think that's another thing, too.
On your ass. 2 games out.
And in the defense of Ross and Mark for firing him, you got to look at the Baltimore Orioles as kind of like a test subject and think to yourself, well, wait a fucking second. Look at their roster. Look at who's on their team. Are we 2 games better than them on paper?
No.
I don't think so. Like I
think
bullpen
for sure. Bullpen's way better.
Bullpen for sure, right? But wait though. Did you know any of these bullpen guys before this season?
No.
So their coach is pulling shit out of them. Their coach is getting stuff out of these guys right now. Like before this season, I knew that they had Cedric Mullins on their team and Ryan Mountcastle and like a few other just like little dudes who I didn't expect for anything. But I did not see a team like this being able to go 500, right? On paper, I think that we are at minimum 10, 15 games better than them. So to only be 2, that's a testament to not only the Baltimore Orioles manager, but also a knock to our manager and being like, wait a second.
Why can't you do it?
Why is this guy getting the best out of these nobodies? And we have guys and we can't get anything out of them. Right.
And I want to transition that a little bit because we got John here saying, I think Walker gone after the season if Jays miss playoffs, including Rivera too. So is this the beginning of a bunch of firings that the Toronto Blue Jays or Ross Atkins could be doing to spark the team? Like, are we going to fire the bullpen coach? Pete Walker, like John's saying, you know, Rivera, the infield coach. Like, do you think this could be the start of a lot of firings?
I mean, if we don't start winning games, then yeah.
Like,
at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, we've gone out, we've made trades. We have signed free agents. No, it's not everything that we wanted. We're not pulling a full-on Dodgers right now. but we are doing enough to go, okay, like, where are the results here? Like, we're shelling out a lot of fucking money. We're in, like, the top 10, top 8, I think, of payrolls at this point.
Yep.
Where are the results?
Yeah.
So if we don't start winning games, then absolutely Pete Walker's gone. Absolutely Rivera's gone. Like, all of these fucking guys are on the chopping block at this point. And frankly, too, Ross, he looks like he looked like a fucking ghost when he was doing his.
Yeah.
Like, he looked scared.
Oh, yeah. Dude,
he looked scared.
He pressed the trigger. He launched the nuke, dude.
Yeah.
He launched the first bomb.
Yeah.
He bombed Charlie, because now no one's safe. Once the first one goes, anyone could go. And I hope this not only lights the fire on the players' asses, but the coaches and the trainers. Everybody's like, oh shit, Mr. Nice Ross has been all happy fun for the last 4 or 6 years. Not anymore. Well, it's time to go.
And reading between the lines, if you guys go and you watch Ross's, it's not a post game, it's a press conference.
Press conference, yeah.
Watch his press conference talking about this. You're going to see him keep referring to himself and be like, oh, like, this is on me. This, to me, the way that he's speaking, the way that he's answering questions, this, to me, looks like a guy who just got a fucking shelling by the people upstairs, you know? And he's like, oh, my God, like, I am on thin ice right now. I have to do something. They need to see something. They need to see results. I got to get rid of Charlie Montoyo. That's me saving my job. Yes. That's me saving my job and going, okay, listen, I'm going to get rid of this guy. And now, I truly believe, if we don't make playoffs this year, he's probably gone in the offseason.
He could be. He very well could be, because we always say Charlie is a rebuilding coach.
Yeah.
He was the rebuilding GM.
Yes.
He did rebuild the team. The team's here now. Now we need a winning manager.
Yeah.
We need a winning general manager. Go make those big moves like AA. He's not making... Well, I guess you could say Barrios at the time was a big move, but he still was treating it like a long-term rebuild. Look, you got Gosman, you got Barrios. Now it's win time, baby.
And think about it this way, too, right? Ross is the dude. Ross and Mark are the guys that are selling Rogers on why we need to pay $36 million for Yusei Kikuchi. Why we need to pay $131 million for fucking Jose Burris. Yeah. These are the guys who are selling this to them. So then when they see these results, they go, what the hell is this? We're paying $36 million for this guy. You guys told us. And then the only way for them to save their asses, the only way for them to save their asses is to go, okay, you know what? He is good at baseball. Kikuchi is good at baseball. We were right. It's the coach not getting enough out of Yusei Kikuchi.
So we got to make a move.
We have to make a move, get a new coach, and then I promise you the money that you've spent will pay off returns.
Because, if you didn't fire Charlie, you're right. Like, it could be Ross to go next. He's got to try to do something, and this was it. I got a lot. Also, shout out everybody in the chat. We got 139 of you in here. Obviously, this is amazing. Amazing breaking news for news in Blue Jays land.
Please hit the like and the subscribe button, guys. Ask some questions in the chat. We definitely have to take a few.
Yeah.
Evan saying agreed. The rebuild is over. Let's deal with this now.
Yeah. Get a AA in there.
I feel like at this point, man, like we got to start. And it's going to be too early. But at the same point, I'm like, I don't even know anymore. Like, I was going to say,
what are you going to say?
Oh, like, we're not going to go out and get a new manager or anything like that.
No, not mid-season.
Here's the thing, though. How do you know that?
Like, that doesn't feel right.
It didn't feel right that we'd fire Charlie Montoyo
that's easier because you know the replacement's John Schneider. He knows the system. He knows the players. He knows the coach. You bring in a new manager mid-season, that's gonna slow everything down.
Right.
Because he then has to learn everything, and we're in the middle of playing baseball games. Like, wait, who's in my bullpen? What can he do? That's just like John Schneider knows the team. You know what
Maybe.
I mean?
All I'm saying though is I don't think at this point we're at a place where we can rule out anything 100%. Because I would have said, I think both of us said literally 2 days ago, no, we're not going to fire Charlie Montoyo. If we're going to fire Charlie Montoyo, it's going to happen post-season, right? Which I still thought, like, I'm still shocked that this actually happened today.
Right.
So you're right. I don't think that we are going to do that.
Yeah.
But
that would be kind of stupid.
I don't think that we can rule anything out at this point because clearly we do not know exactly where their heads are at moving forward. If they're already
if they did, I would be like, hey guys, what are you doing? Like you literally have John Schneider right there. Like, what are you waiting for?
Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wanted to ask about John Schneider. Like, what do you think now? We have John Schneider, interim, manager. Do you think he's gonna be? I think he'll be okay. I mean, we can't be any worse, right?
Okay. Well, let's take a moment right now and just do a little fucking like 5 to 10 minute review on what Charlie was doing during his entire tenure of the Blue Jays. That's a little memorial to him, and then let's look at those numbers and decide whether we think that freaking Schneider is gonna do better than that.
Okay. So what numbers do you want to look at?
I want to look at what he did on his time, guys. So I'm pretty sure we know the record here, but let's just pull that up for people to see. Charlie's record as the Toronto Blue Jays manager. Everybody, for those of you who don't know, comment it in the chat right now what you think it was. I'm gonna throw this word out there right now. Average. That seems to be the what it was for Charlie Montoyo.
There it is. So Charlie Montoyo had a 236 and 236 record as Jays manager. Hey, look at that photo. Recognize it, anybody? Wow. From the thumbnail. That's the definition of mid. And you know what? He was mid. I mean, well, granted, he had his first season when we were literally losing a lot. But then the second season, above 500. Third season, well above 500. And then this season, he's about 500. So there you go. That's mid.
Yeah.
It's a mid manager.
Dude, I think what really screwed him over was the fact that we didn't make playoffs by a game last year.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly,
if we made playoffs, he would not be fired.
I think it's a different story
if 100%.
we made playoffs. Like, I think
100%.
if we would have made playoffs last year, it's a complete different story.
Yeah.
But because we didn't, it's like, well, what do you have on your resume then? 2 playoff losses in a shortened season where we went 32-28.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? You know, it's nothing really.
Yeah, literally add on on the end there. If you count playoffs, he's actually below 500.
Yeah. For sure, and when you look at this, I know that some people, I think a Instagram account, Blue Jays Instagram account, was putting up numbers yesterday, and it's good perspective. They put perspective, but we are basically the exact same record now as we were last year, and they were like perspective, and I think that was a way of them calming down the community. Yeah. But if anything, that just got me more nervous.
It did,
because I'm like, what, like. We didn't make playoffs last year, guys. Like, perspective on what? Being fucking shit?
Yeah,
like,
well, let's look at it, right? Like, for, can I look at last, I think I can.
Yeah, you can.
This time last year?
I think you can, yeah.
If I go 2021.
Before All-Star? Yeah, you can, I think it's above.
Above?
I think so. Pre-All-Star, yeah.
Pre-All-Star, okay,
yeah.
Pre-All-Star.
What were we, this is a good comparison. What were we pre-All-Star?
ERA of 3.99. That's 12th in baseball.
Yes.
That is really good.
Yeah, now the actual number 3.99 is like pretty similar to what we are now, but it's the 12th in baseball, right? It's like we're 21st in baseball now. So we suck pitching wise, but we were above average last year. You know, you couldn't really hold a flame to our pitching staff.
And we were second.
And we were the same.
776. And I think this year, are we about the same? 776?
I think that we're fourth in whatever that is. So, I mean, like
756.
Yeah.
So a little bit worse.
Yeah,
but
we're worse. But everybody's worse. You know, as far as it goes, we're fourth, then we were second.
That's the thing. Every ERA is up in baseball, but we're down.
Yeah.
It's like, but we got better. Yeah. We actually added a bullpen guy and added 2 starting pitchers. Yeah. So we did lose one, but we replaced them. Yeah. So what's the problem? You know? So... yeah, I mean, so what do you think that is going to be beneficial with John Schneider now that we have? I don't know. I really, honestly, if I'm going to give my honest expectation here, folks, I don't really think this changes much. You know, I hope it does. I hope it sparks something. But in the end of the day, we said it 1,000 times, it's up to those players. They need to decide. You know, this could be bad. It could be a player could react, oh, crap, now I'm thinking more. I'm in my head more. I'm worried more. I got to force it more. Or a player could use that fear to the benefit, right? It all depends how they do. I don't know these players personally. None of you do, unless you met them like at a jersey signing. Right. It doesn't matter. You don't know the players. We don't know the players. It all depends on how they react to this firing.
Yeah, I mean, the Philadelphia Phillies, you look at them, right? Like, they pulled the trigger early.
Yeah.
And same sort of situation, right? Like, they have superstars on that team. They went out this offseason. They acquired 2 more elite sluggers, right? Elite hitters. They did add to the bullpen. They have they have some really good pitchers in the rotation. And they were like well below 500. They pulled the trigger early. Now they're in a playoff spot. I think that you could argue, even though that they lost to us yesterday, they are a better overall team than us just so far this season. Like, just looking at the stats, like, they're really freaking good.
Yeah.
And they're doing it all without their best player right now, who's on the IL. They pulled the trigger, and now they are really kicking ass. I don't know if that's the rule.
Right,
I don't think that's like, I don't think that we can expect that. I don't think that we can expect to go on like a fucking 10-0 run or whatever they did when they fired their manager.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the exception. But it also doesn't mean that we're done now. We're not, it's not like, oh, okay, throw in the fucking towel, guys. Like, manager's fired. Like, this season's a goddamn bust.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
I think this
is
an attempt to save the season.
Totally.
With that being said, this just inspired me for a question here. John also saying, shout out John again, we need power from lefty bat. Do we now go out Ross Atkins because I fired Charlie Montoyo now I got to make a bunch of trades? Is that almost like a greater chance now? Do we go and make a bunch of trades?
That's interesting. I think it's interesting to see how much of a rope he's got, how much leverage he has. Because like, are the people who are paying his salary, are they going to allow him to trade for dudes with big salaries? Are they going to let him do that? Like, what is like? Is he going to be walking on eggshells right now? Or is he going to be, like, shooting as many fucking shots as he can to try to save himself, like, like, bang, we need you. Like,
I'm kind of leaning more to there. I think he's ready to go.
Right.
I think because he's like, yeah, like...
like, we need Frankie Montas.
We need to go! Louis!
Like,
give me Louis!
It's like he's just in the fucking, like, dugout every day. Like, guys, my job is on the fucking line right now. It's like, it is,
I see this guy pulling all-nighters, like, doing coke, and, like, he's, like, calling people, no! Come on, please!
No, please, God, like, give me Gregory Soto.
Yes, oh my God. He's like, so calling up Detroit, getting all their bullpen pieces.
Right.
Honestly, I think it's gonna happen. I think we're gonna see some big moves happening, and that's exciting.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So maybe he does go out and get some lefty bats, guys. This could be the beginning of some crazy ass shit for the Toronto Blue Jays. Let's see if we can take any questions right now about what's happening right now. You think that the Jays still got a chance for the division? All right.
Let's break that down right now.
No. Yeah, there is no. Now the Yankees are scuffling right now, folks. But the division is definitely out of reach. The firing of the manager, this is our play to make wild card. And at first, I remember a few weeks ago we were like, oh yeah, like we're gonna be fighting for that first wild card spot like the whole season. Now we're fighting for the last wild card spot. We are fighting for the last wild card spot, and it's too bad that the Seattle Mariners, they're back in the race right now.
Yeah, they are.
Fucking Baltimore's
Orioles coming in the race.
And you got to imagine, Baltimore, like, I don't think, honestly, they deserve it more than we do.
For real.
They're sniffing playoffs and like, holy shit, we're so close. Like,
I actually thought about this on the bus to work today.
What?
Is if we don't make it and the Orioles do, I'm going to root for them. I'm gonna root for them.
Totally.
I'm gonna root for them.
Yeah,
They're
no,
so
I
exciting.
absolutely will. Like, I'd way rather have, like, if we're not gonna win this thing, might as well be the goddamn Orioles,
All right, look at this. Okay, so to answer the question, the win division percentage 98.7 for the Yankees. I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely not impossible.
No.
But I think 98.7 is a good
But
chance.
it does feel like we simulate this season this amount, like, 1,000 times. Like, there's few times that they don't win this goddamn thing,
And the only reason why we're second is because, again, Fangraphs loves the on-paper stuff.
Dude,
love the on-paper
they
stuff.
literally have the New York Yankees making playoffs 100% of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably, like it's not 100. It's going to be 99.999, whatever.
Yeah.
But it is like they make playoffs.
You have to do worse than the Blue Jays, Red Sox, Rays, or whatever other third team is in there in the AL. Like, that's pretty hard to do at this point.
And you need to do worse than the Orioles.
Yeah.
Because it's like one of us would win the division.
Assuming the Orioles are there.
Yeah, or like whatever the other wild card spot team is. Like, you'd have to do so bad. It's like to not make it. So, yeah, the Yankees are going to win this goddamn thing. They're going to make playoffs. We have an 81.3% chance to clinch a wild card. Do you agree with those stats?
81 to clinch a
I don't
wild
really,
card?
or like 82% to make playoffs.
Oh, right here. Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that, man. Like, that seems really
less.
high.
Like I get it. Like, because we're right there and we should be better on paper. Again, Fangraphs loves the on paper stuff.
Yeah.
I would give the Blue Jays, like, at this point, like 69, not to be funny, but like 69 or 68 feels about right. Maybe not that low. Maybe 72. 82 seems a bit too high. A bit too high.
Yeah.
Right? What do you think?
I think it's definitely too high. I mean, I think it's definitely too high. Like, at the end of the day, we did just fire our manager. Is there a reality where, like, all the shit hits the fan and everybody falls apart? I think so.
Yeah.
I think you got to factor that in.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that you have to factor in that our pitching blows, our offense is cold. Like, there's a lot of things to factor in here, guys. I think that, you know, probably for me, I think a 65% chance that we make the playoffs. You know, like we're there with no games. Like we're half a game ahead of the Seattle Mariners right now.
You gotta imagine, because most of the time, I do think we are going to come out of this whatever the hell kind of spell we're in right now. Like, you got to imagine.
I'm still believing in the preseason energy of, like, we're a top 5 team. Like,
100%.
I hope, though, that figures itself out at some point.
100%. But you got to imagine, because we are out of a playoff spot right now. You got to imagine, okay, like...
Actually, we are just in one.
We're just in one?
Yeah, because Seattle didn't play yesterday, so it's like we became... Yeah, okay, so we're half a game above them, but if they win, like, we're just, like, it's like this right now.
And, like, maybe it's biased, but, like, I do think Red Sox have a better chance than we do. Out of all of the AL wildcard guys, I think Red Sox are kind of my favorites. But like, out of all the teams, if I'm trying to pull myself out of it, if I were to just look at it on paper, it's like, yeah, I guess I would put the Blue Jays up there, like pretty high out of those guys. So maybe I do get it. I do get it. You know, maybe 70. Maybe I'm gonna go with 73. Around some, but 3/4 of the time we make it.
Also, John S says your chest hair worse than bow hair, and to that I say, fuck you. Chest hair is cool, dude. And if you don't have any, then I feel for you because your balls are this fucking big. So there you have it. Come after me, I'm gonna come after you, boy.
Oh my god.
Is it time to go all in for Soto, says Ratchet?
No. We can't.
No, I don't think so.
Like, look, we have, if we're gonna spend all our money on something, we've talked about 1,000 times, it has to be bullpen. It has to be a starting pitcher. Like, offense, you're top 4.
Yeah.
Like, you can win a World Series with a top 4 offense.
Totally.
With the offense we have right now, you can win a World Series.
Yes.
Don't need Soto. Gregory Soto.
Yes.
Gregory Soto.
If that's what you meant, then yes, absolutely. We need Gregory Soto. We need his band of people over there in Detroit. We need all those guys come over here. I was thinking that we could maybe trade with the Baltimore Orioles. Like, I know that division trading doesn't happen too much, but that's impossible now because now
we can't. Now they're actually playing.
They're in the game.
They're playing now.
They can't possibly be doing that.
And why would they sell off pieces if they have them for more years? Like, oh, well, if we're this close, imagine what we're going to be next year.
Literally.
You know?
Actually, the Baltimore Orioles right now are in a position where you could see them potentially go out and make a move in free agency this year.
100%. Like, they're like the Detroit Tigers.
You gotta think, right? It's like they are. I look at them and I see us like 2 years ago at this point.
Yeah. I literally see them, like I said, the Detroit Tigers last year.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, we had potential. We can't win, but we're there.
Yeah,
we're gonna go do something.
I agree, dude. John S saying Kirk only 1 year older than Moreno. Trade Moreno. I see. That's the thing. Like, I don't even know if. Okay, well, first off, I don't know if the management's in a position where they're gonna you think that they're gonna be shooting shots like crazy. I don't know if they're gonna do that necessarily.
Not with Moreno though.
No, Moreno's a bit too.
I think they're gonna shoot I think they're gonna shoot the shots I want them to shoot. Like, they're not gonna go out and go like, here's 3 starting pitchers and like I think they're gonna get a starting pitcher. I think they're gonna get a couple bullpen guys because that's minimum for me, right?
Yeah.
That's minimum.
Agreed. Okay. Guys, let us know in the comments what you feel about Charlie Montoyo getting fired. I feel like we're going to be doing a lot of podcasts coming up soon about, like, who we can go out and acquire, what does this mean for us moving forward, just like free agency moves. There's going to be so much, so please hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you to everybody for asking your questions, watching along with us. We are actually going to be going to the game this evening, so if any of you happen to be there, like, hit us up on Instagram or, like, hit us up somewhere in our DMs and, like, love to meet up with you and whatever and just, like, discuss this in person because I feel like I'm going to be reeling from this for a little while.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for watching.
And
go Jays, go! Bye, Charlie!
See you, buddy.